The Pillager Outpost has an ominous presence in the Minecraft world, and often appears close to a village, a show of power on their part. Although LEGO is coming out with a playscale version, it doesn't capture the scale or fear behind it. Like my previous village blacksmith mock, this LEGO Outpost keeps costs and size constraints in mind. The blocks are still 2x2 plates tall and wide, however, there is a major difference between this LEGO model and the version in Minecraft. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another LEGO Minecraft mock review, where today we will be going over the Pillager Outpost from Minecraft. Before we get into the video, if you've seen any of my previous videos, you might notice that my voice sounds a lot different. I recently found myself a new headset that sounds and works so much better than my previous headset and microphone. Now let's get back to the video. One of the things that you may or may not have noticed is that this is smaller than the one you would see in Minecraft. While other people have made full-scale versions of this, those builds often end up being upwards of $300 and take up way too much space. Minecraft is a game where you often get lost in the scale of the builds. Because a block is a full meter cubed, you often forget how big something actually is. My version is 9 blocks or 18 studs wide, while the version for Minecraft would be 13 blocks wide or 26 studs wide. I'm not sure if I should release instructions yet, but let me know in the comments if you would like to see this on Rebrickable. For now, I would like to show it off as a template for anyone who wants to do something similar, because I may be using this design in the future for myself. While I strive to be as accurate as possible, sometimes the program doesn't have all of the pieces that I need, especially when it comes to the prints or stickers. For this model, I'm going to be using some replacement parts. For example, the ominous banner is now a skull and crossbones because they don't have that part. The pillagers are also made up of different parts, like they have a drowned torso in different colors and an iron golem head because there's no villager head. However, there are new 2x3 tiles from the Pillager Raid Battle Pack that would fit perfect here. Moving on to the building techniques, while I wanted to make it so as little studs or anti-studs showed up as possible, there's still a few places that would be redundant or impossible to make it flush, especially since we're trying to keep the cost down. The technique that I use in most of this build is snot, or studs not on top, where I take the specialized bricks that have studs on their side and build off of them sideways so that there is nothing other than flat surfaces on all the sides. I also use this technique for the slabs. The ones above the entrance are built with the modified plates with studs on their sides so it matches the bottom of the brick. For the ones on the top of the dark oak pillars, I used a different technique. This technique involves Technic. The reddish-brown piece is a 1x2 double snot piece. This connects to 2 Technic pinholes in dark brown. Everything else is made up of regular bricks and tiles. I build the floor in 2 different ways. I found it easier to make it completely tiled off on the top so there would be no studs showing. However, you could still do what I did on the bottom. This uses more of the snot technique, however, this time it's used to save pieces. Instead of the floor being made up of the tops of tiles, it's made up of the sides of bricks. Back to the top, I also use the snot technique to make the roof. This makes it look great and be as accurate as possible. Other than the inside of it, there's only one place that I couldn't add this technique, and it's barely even noticeable. Notice how I connected it to the pillars? The pillars are made of the snot technique as well, with 2 omnidirectional pieces and plates connected to them. The roof is connected to the central studs. Similar to the fences, I used the 2x2 jumper plate to get it centered to the bricks. This also brings up the question of how I connected them when there are snot pieces directly underneath. Only one side of the fence is connected to a jumper plate. The other side is just resting on the smooth side of the bricks. To connect the banner pieces, I used jumpers so that they would be offset from the top, but if you use the newer plate pieces, you would want to use the regular plates. The last thing to talk about before we get to the middle is of how Minecraft and LEGO interact. You might have noticed that the Pillager is able to fit at the top, but not at the bottom. This is because LEGO and Minecraft aren't really to scale with each other. If you wanted true minifigure scale, you might go for 3x3 bricks, but those are not really easy to make and would often look worse than if you did just 2x2 bricks. Luckily, there is room at the top for the pillagers to hang out because of the way that the outpost was initially designed. This dome allows for the 3-block clearance needed for these LEGO minifigures. The middle is the most interesting part of the build to me. I used a lot of the masonry bricks to get the texture of the planks. While this is an obvious thing to do, I only did this in the middle, since most of the other planks are sideways or would not be able to look this way. It breaks up an otherwise monotonous part of the build in a way that I like. The other part is what scared me the most. The tops of logs in Minecraft have a texture that would be very difficult to make in LEGO, so I came up with a cool idea. The top of the log is now made up of the underside of a brick. Earlier, I was talking about how much I wanted to avoid anti-studs, and here I am using them as a detail. These rules only apply to keep everything uniform unless you are specifically using them to add detail. This is like the new Pillager Raid Battle Pack, where they used the two 1x4 plates to make up the cactus instead of the original 2x4. Some people thought it might be so that they could add extra pieces to justify the price, but if you take a closer look, this actually makes a lot of sense because it looks more like the needles on a cactus. If you enjoyed my breakdown of the custom Playscale Villager Outpost, then don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what kind of builds you'd like to see next. I am still working on the village, but since I only want to make a few of the houses, I think I'll come back to it another time. But I'll definitely keep doing LEGO Minecraft. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.